Hey guys, it's Brendan Borman, and I'm back for another 270 video where I complete the 5-player no clash challenge. This is the mobile game 270, and if you're new, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, join the community, help us reach 5K before Election Day. Good luck to my opponents. Today I'm playing against a Bernie Sanders, an FDR, a Nikki Haley, and a Napoleon Bonaparte. FDR is using an Elon Musk vice president, and we are going to start off in national groups. Now, the rules of this challenge are simple. I have to avoid a clash or conflict all game long, or I must forfeit the game. Now, it has to be a 5-player multiplayer, and I cannot zero spend. In the game, you're allowed to zero spend, which can be a great strategy for multiplayers to avoid conflict, because conflict can be a really, really bad thing to come back from, especially early on in the game. It is a risk that we're going to start off in national groups. However, I think that could be a really good strategy for a challenge like this. If you have a strategy or a different challenge that you would like to suggest to me, please use the comment section to interact. I enjoy reading the good, the bad, the ugly, and even the troll comments because it engages the entire community and it helps reach my channel to a larger audience. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of information here because some players decided to zero spend. FDR did invest in Texas and in Illinois, and it looks like that we're going to be successful in our national group strategy. We spent money in both the youth vote and the women's movement, national groups, and those were uncontested. So let's take a look here. We have Napoleon, who probably, he has a gun lobby bonus. I think he has a high-tech bonus. Nikki Haley, I'm fortunate that she did not come after me in women's movement. Sometimes Nikki Haley, people do that. She is going big conservative and evangelical, and so she's going to go national groups as well. And she's chasing me in women's movement. No, why would you do that? That's very unfortunate. So $37,500 for youth vote and $46.9K for women's movement. We're bringing in about $334,000 every turn, which is good. That's 2 pips worth of New York. We could just double pip New York here and then double pip it again on the next turn and have 4 New York, hopefully prevent someone from spending in New York. And then I could go a town and gown in a non-confrontational way. Or I could just go straight for Massachusetts and New Hampshire, which is the cheapest way currently in the game to get the town and gown bonus. Because I'm being chased in women's movement, I think I want to get my town and gown bonus as quickly as possible. And so I am going to go up this path, even though it is pretty meta. We were able to avoid a conflict. And at least if we do have a conflict here this early on, we're not wasting our time completely. We are just going to start over after we forfeit. But we do have enough money to go up to the 3rd pip in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and in New York, which will give us the town and gown money. Most players here are entering states on the 1st pip, which is good to know because if we want to get into a state, then we can do so by entering on the 2nd pip. Really interesting here that Napoleon is going to go ahead and lock Illinois. We do have Illinois access if Napoleon gets eliminated early on in this game. Texas is spin up to the 4th pip, and Nikki Haley does match us in women's movement. So that's really interesting. She probably will take it this next turn. However, we do get it for at least one more turn. Like I mentioned earlier, it might be advantageous for us to spin up to the 4th pip in New York in this type of strategy game because, we want to prevent our opponents from attacking us and having to overspend in New York. I'm not worried about winning the game as much as I am trying to avoid a clash. And sometimes if someone chases you in New York, you can spend up to get a clash, and I don't want that because a clash would be a loss for me. So women's movement does go to Nikki Haley. She is able to steal that. There is a clash not involving us in Michigan, so the game continues. And look at Napoleon. Napoleon is continuing to lock states, including Nebraska and Kansas. So my thought process here is maybe spending a little bit of my town and gown money in some states that have already been entered into by Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is spreading out across the map. He's not really going for any specific bonuses. We have FDR has a tight core in Texas, and we don't have any movement in California other than our 2-pips. We spend $400,000 in California. Again, that probably forces Bernie Sanders to spend there. We aren't able to get the high-tech bonus without California in this game because of all of the spending in states like Michigan, Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. And there is the manufacturing bonus for FDR. Now, Tennessee might be a little bit risky, but it's an African-American state. It's also a state that we could try to flip away from FDR if we try to make FDR not so strong. So let's get into Indiana and Kentucky because I don't think any other players are going to spend money in those states this turn. And right now we're going to save our town and gown. We could lock a Massachusetts or an Arizona or a New Hampshire with it if we need to. We were right about Bernie Sanders going up to the 3rd pip in California. We have another lock of Idaho, of all states. So it looks like that Napoleon Bonaparte is going for ag without going for ag because he doesn't have Texas and California, either of those. We have Bernie, who is going up to the 2nd pip. In some states, he already had 1 pip, as well as entering into the 1st pip in some open states. So there is absolutely no reason for me to enter into an open state because I would probably clash with Bernie Sanders. Now, Arizona, do I lock it or do I go to the 9th pip? I think there is a decent chance that one player locks it, and so I'm going to choose the 9th pip, but then I have to worry about Arizona again in a future turn. When do I lock it? How open do I leave it for the rest of the game? Do I risk a clash by closing it? So that really becomes an interesting question. Again, these players do not know that I'm doing this clash challenge. This is totally me, but I think if they knew the clash thing, they probably would chase me and do some funky things. So that would be something in a live stream that probably would be a lot harder to do than a recorded game in just the lobby. Now, California, we can go up and get the high-tech bonus. It is a little bit risky right now to enter into Nevada and into New Jersey, Vermont, and Rhode Island, but I need to be in some more EVs, into more states to give me some chances later on at some electorals, should I need so to avoid the ballot. There's quite a bit of spending going on in Florida, which does not involve us, and FDR is choosing a late turn number 9, to invest in labor and environment. Again, once players have entered into states, it's less likely that other players are going to enter into it, so that's a strategy in this which I can use to avoid clashes. We're up to 108 electors. We have a 70, 88, 102. So we are doing pretty good on that front. I think now is a good time to spend in women's movement. Not only do I think there won't be a clash, but that will allow other players to spend in states on this turn, and maybe I can spend safely on future turns. I also have high-tech money and town and gown money, and so I'm spending up in Washington, Missouri, and Massachusetts. California, Bernie is creeping up closer as Napoleon decides to lock Florida. Napoleon, what are you doing, my man? Let's see here. Wisconsin is a match, but women's movement is locked for Obama. So we're at 108. Nikki Haley still at 70, and we do have a ballot round. Let's see. Do I need to spend because I can't zero spend? Do I put some money into California? Do I go for the Latino bonus? Let's spend 1 pip in California, and then we're going to go to the 4th pip in these town and gown states. I don't think those states will be spent 2, but if he does, it's probably going to be 1 or 2 pips. And then we will end our turn. This is turn number 11. We're going to roll over about $300,000. Everybody does spend on this turn. We have labor and environment going to FDR. Oh my goodness, Bernie is going at me in Town and Gown States. He went to the 3rd pip, the 2nd pip in Missouri. No clashes. Oh man, Rhode Island, we just avoided a clash again. Got to keep our eye on Vermont. So 4th pip. And we still have 4 bonuses. We avoid a clash. Nikki Haley cannot avoid being the one eliminated. And so despite his odd strategy, it looks like Napoleon Bonaparte is going to survive. Now, I watched the whole ballot round. I cannot zero spin, so I cannot miss a turn or I have to forfeit. And I really panicked here because I think I need to be in Pennsylvania, but I don't know if this could be a clash or not. So we're going to have our fingers crossed. Good thing we didn't go for Minnesota. That would have been tragic. Okay, Pennsylvania, we had lots of spending. However, we avoided a clash again. So we're at 119 electors. We still have Virginia, which is open, and I would love to get Virginia. As you guys know, who have watched my channel before, Virginia is like my favorite state to go after. However, it's too risky. I do not want to clash. Let's go after New Jersey all the way to the 10th, and we are going to double pip Texas and lock Missouri. Going to go with the show me state, my home state, get those 10 electors, hopefully 14 in New Jersey, and then Texas. If FDR does lose, we would inherit Texas. Maine flips to Bernie, but he does not go after Missouri to the 10th pip, so we're good there. New Jersey is locked safely from harm, no conflict. Pennsylvania is locked. Good thing I did not invest actually some cash in Pennsylvania and Virginia. We had a 10th pip lock, but also a one pip entrance. And so if we had entered into Virginia, we would have had a 50% chance of surviving. So good thing we did not do that either. Oh, Maine, Connecticut. We have some options here on the East Coast, Vermont, but it's probably not a lock. Let's just go to the 9th pip in case Mr. Bernie decides to lock it. If he doesn't, maybe he'll leave us alone. Looks like that Napoleon is the lock man. He's locking Delaware, locking D.C. We have Maine. We should have locked it, but again, we didn't want to make ourselves forfeit. We have a clash, but not involving us. Texas, we're up to the 3rd pip, but FDR continues to play defense. And so with the ballot round, we do have Bernie Sanders, the one who is probably in the most states the earliest. He is going to drop out. We have Pennsylvania and Michigan still locked. Let's go ahead and get into Washington to the 5th pip, even though it's uncontested, just to give ourselves a little bit of a lead. We're going to match FDR in New Mexico and Colorado. He'll likely lock it the next turn, but if we go to the 2nd pip, I highly doubt that the other player, Napoleon, will enter to the 2nd pip. There's a chance he might go to the 1st pip. Alabama is clean entry. Colorado is as well. Mississippi. So we're doing pretty good there. More defense in Texas. And oil and gas finally goes over to FDR. Turn number 16, we're going to double pip Connecticut. We have $400,000 of high tech. Again, if Pennsylvania and Michigan were available, I would maybe go for those. Virginia is already locked, and I would like to get into Maryland. I'm going to have to do it this turn just so I can get some EVs, but that is really scary. Also, North Carolina. With FDR having that manufacturing bonus, I would love for him to get into North Carolina so that I can enter safely after that. But until that happens, I just don't feel comfortable. We have double pip entrance into Arkansas by Napoleon. That's scary. So he's mixing it up, not just doing first pip, he's doing second pip as well. So we have to be careful with open states. However, we only have 167 electors to FDR's 164. Napoleon has 207. So his odd strategy is paying off at the moment. We need to survive. He gets the Old South and African American bonus, does Napoleon. So I could go for Texas. I actually think that Texas is either going to be left completely open or that FDR is going to lock it. But I don't have the cojones to go 1 or 2 pips past because I don't want to lose on that move. I'm just going to go up in Connecticut, in Maryland, and in Oregon. And I'm going to bank on 2 of the 3 of those moves being successful, which should be enough to guarantee my spot in the next round. We have Georgia spinning by Napoleon. Our Maryland steal up to the 9th pip is successful. Nevada to the 9th. Oh my goodness, we just avoided another clash, as well as New Hampshire. Texas up to the 3rd pip. And we avoid losing on that ballot. So there goes FDR. It's down to myself and Napoleon Bonaparte. So we are going to spend up to the 5th pip in Pennsylvania, the 3rd pip in many other Rust Belt states. We're going to lock Colorado and New Mexico, so I'll have to worry about that later on. And Maryland here, New York. So that will do it for turn number 18. I'm going to save $1.4 million. I can get in. I should have gotten into North Carolina. This is probably going to be the ballot round, so I'm going to go ahead and skip once we get to Maryland. There we go. Okay, so Wyoming, Alaska, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Michigan. This is a risk locking Rhode Island, Kentucky, Indiana, New York. Okay, I don't need to get a lot of EVs, but I think playing offense will be more advantageous than playing defense. If I don't spend, okay, Kentucky and Indiana are safe. Michigan's safe. Ooh, New Hampshire's safe. I was worried about that one. And Utah. Ooh, good thing we did not go for Utah. How mad would I have been on the ballot rounds? Oh, this was my 3rd attempt. The first 2 attempts, so the first attempt I actually did. I didn't clash, but my wife called halfway through the stream, and I had to basically start over because the stream sucked. The second game, I lost on a steal in Alabama. I decided to lock it, and someone clashed. So the 3rd attempt was successful. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for the idea. And again, let me know what you want to see me do on the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next 270 video.